fifth and final important matter selected comes from Deputy Paul McAuliffe, who wishes to discuss the issue of pedestrian safety and active travel on the M1 R104 intersection in Dublin 9.
Gurmagat Ken Corla, and having had the pleasure of, well, first of all, to thank you for allowing me to raise this issue, but having had the pleasure of sitting through the topical issues, I often think that this portion of the week better reflects the work I see in my clinic every week, and probably the work of every other deputy in this House. Minister, we are all committed to the issue of active travel. This government has never invested more in the area of active travel than any other government. We're doing it to deal with climate change. And all across Dublin, I'm seeing examples of how that investment is turning into more cycle lanes, into better access for people with disabilities, better access for pedestrians. But there's one location, Minister, and that's the interchange at the M1 or the R104, better known as the Oscar Traynor Roundabout, which is not seeing those improvements. And it's a classic tale of two local authorities and a transport authority that are not coming together to service the needs of a community, and a community that's divided because of, I suppose, a very outdated form of roads engineering type project that didn't take account of cycling and walking. So if you were to live in Oak Park or Royal Oak or Santry Villas or any parts of Santry, and your children were in school in Guelph School Columkill, you have to get through effectively a motorway interchange in order to get to school. One traffic survey in 2017 said that there were more than 3,000 traffic movements between 8 AM and 9 in that slot. So you can imagine a child on a bike. Impossible. You can imagine a young mother or father with their young children getting them to school, trying to negotiate what is effectively a motorway interchange. So, Minister, I wouldn't normally bring an issue like this to the House, but I have the north side of a roundabout being dealt with by Fingal County Council, a south side being dealt with by Dublin City Council, National Transport Authority through the TII managing the roundabout, and nobody seems to be availing of the huge resources that this government has put in place to make sure there is proper cycling and pedestrian facilities at this interchange. So I would ask the Department of Transport to take an active interest in this issue, to ensure that both local authorities, that one of them takes the lead on it and that they're supported by the TII, and that in all of that, Minister, we ensure that there's better facilities on the ground for the people who need them.
Thank you, Deputy Minister.
Count Corla, I'd like to thank Deputy McAuliffe for raising this very important issue in your constituency today, and I'm answering this topical issue on behalf of Minister Ryan, the Department of Transport. You know, the programme for government sets out an ambitious and wide-ranging set of commitments in relation to walking and cycling, supported by an increased multi-annual budgetary allocation amounting to some €1.8 billion over the lifetime of the government, as you'll be aware, Deputy. From 2021 to 2025, we will see 20% of our total transport budget, approximately €360 million per annum, invested into Ireland's walking and cycling infrastructure to provide a safe and connected network to those who commute, walk or cycle to work or school, or to those who walk and cycle on our more recreation-focused Greenway network. Minister Ryan was recently delighted to announce the allocation of €289 million to local authorities to fund active travel infrastructure in 2022. This funding will support approximately 1,200 projects across the length and breadth of the country to make walking and cycling in our villages, towns and cities safe and sustainable. Coolock Lane Junction that you've highlighted is located at the intersection of the R104 regional road and the M50, as you've outlined. A section of motorway previously designated as the M1 was redesignated as part of the M50. The current arrangements at this location, as you've rightly highlighted, are not pedestrian or cycle friendly. Similar to other projects developed in the same time frame, this junction was designed as part of a motorway with the objective of maximising vehicular traffic movement. Because the boundary between Fingal and Dublin City Council areas runs through this junction, any proposal for development of pedestrian and cycling facilities would involve a number of parties, being Fingal County Council, Dublin City Council and Transport Infrastructure Ireland, given the proximity of the Dublin Tunnel and the national road status of the corridor. I've no doubt, Deputy, that you've raised this with officials in the local authorities as well. The National Transport Authority is fully supportive of improving the pedestrian and cycling facilities at this location and has had discussions with some of the above parties in relation to the potential for such enhancements. It is a matter for one or other of the councils to develop proposals to address the deficiencies at this location. In such circumstances, the National Transport Authority is prepared to fund either Fingal County Council or Dublin City Council to undertake the design and planning phase for a scheme to enhance the pedestrian and cycle movement at this junction and to obtain planning consent for the proposal. So that is very positive news. In relation to any subsequent construction, the National Transport Authority expect to be able to fully fund such implementation. However, this is subject to confirmation, obviously, of the final design and can only be confirmed at that stage. The current framework for road safety is set out in Government's 5th Road Safety Strategy. The Road Safety Authority has overall responsibility for overseeing implementation. On 15th December 2021, the Government and the Road Safety Authority launched Ireland's Road Safety Strategy 2021 to 2030, along with an associated action plan for the first phase of the strategy running from 21 to 24. The programme for Government 2020 commits to the following. We will introduce an ambitious road safety strategy targeting the Vision Zero principle. We will introduce a new road safety strategy focusing on reducing deaths and injuries of vulnerable road users, pedestrians and cyclists. The new strategy meets these objectives. The strategy aims to deliver a 50% reduction in road deaths and serious injuries by 2030. The Phase 1 targets are a 15% reduction in deaths in the period and a reduction of 10% in serious injuries. This will be a major step on the way to the EU Vision Zero target of 0 deaths or serious injuries by 2050. The strategy adopts a safe systems approach. This is recommended as best practice by the UN, EU and the WHO. It is a holistic approach which takes into account all factors, including allowing for the fact that even with the best systems, people will make mistakes. And so such areas as road designs and emergency response need to be tailored to this reality. And I say all of that in the context of Coolock Lane that you highlight and this junction is an area that really does fit in with improvements and to be supported by state agencies in conjunction with local authorities.
Thank you, Minister. Deputy McAuliffe.
Well, thank you very much, Minister, and it's really welcome to hear the news that the NTA are prepared to fund either Fingal County Council or Dublin City Council, subject to the details of an application. Oscar Traynor Road has been in the news for many other reasons, and not least because of the new housing project which Dublin City Council will construct on that site, both for affordable, social and cost rental, up to 800 homes. The addition of those homes, and including new homes built in Santry Village, does put extra demand in the area, and there is real frustration that homes are coming but the infrastructure isn't keeping up. And this roundabout is a classic example of how we can easily demonstrate to people how we're going to invest in infrastructure as much as we're going to invest in housing. Now look, there are lots of cycling projects, and we've heard about them in the news, which are controversial. There are projects which often involve politicians being climate brave. And it involves communities being climate brave as well, and rewarding people who are willing to take difficult decisions and compromises that we can tackle climate action. But this roundabout doesn't involve us to being climate brave, Minister. This interchange involves us applying a bit of logic. There's no one objecting to these facilities here, and I would very much encourage the chief executives of the two local authorities involved to take up the offer that you've put here, that the NTA will fund a project of this nature, and that will have a real benefit to those residents that I spoke about in Oak Park, in Santry, in Royal Oak and in the Coolock area. So thank you very much, Minister, and I really appreciate your response.
Thank you very much, Minister. To conclude.
Ciaran, thank you very much, Deputy. Look, you have an offer to go back to your chief executives with now. It's on the record of the House here that offer of support is there, and we need them to drive on now. And I thank you for raising this and making your contribution here today and having this discussion, because it's great to see investment in active travel starting to bear fruit. And government is keen to accelerate delivery of sustainable transport modes as we come out of the majority of the COVID restrictions. It is vital that we do not allow a return to gridlock as we come out of the pandemic. Deputy, you talked about politicians need to be climate brave. This is a quality of life issue. This really is, about us having that modal shift. According to the CSO, 29% of trips are less than 2 kilometres that are taken at present, 57% of which are made by the car. Moreover, of trips up to 6 kilometres, 79% are made by the car. Local authorities and the NTA have been provided with an unprecedented increase in funding for additional staff for active travel to help deliver all the necessary infrastructure to enable more of these and longer journeys to be made by walking and cycling, particularly in heavily populated urban areas such as you've highlighted here today. The increase in the number of people opting to make journeys by walking or cycling during the period of COVID-19 restrictions shows the potential to make real strides in a modal shift away from fossil fuel vehicles and towards more sustainable modes of transport. The funding committed to in Budget 2022 for investment in sustainable transport projects is proof of government's commitment to active travel, and I look forward to the development of active travel plans that will promote sustainable transport options for people across the country and in the area of Coolock Lane that you highlighted here today, Deputy.